What's the biggest secret you've been hiding from your partner? I have an eating disorder that I've been fighting alone for about 5 years. He thinks I'm just naturally really skinny. Actually, this is the first time I've admitted this publicly. It feels kind of good. I've always known he takes Viagra. I think he'd say his biggest secret is that he takes Viagra. Probably how many snacks I really sneak at midnight. I've always been someone who utterly despised dancing. I would refuse any invitation to join in on the dance floor, finding the whole idea of it uncomfortable and awkward. But then I met her, and everything changed. Knowing that bachata is her favorite dance, I decided to step out of my comfort zone and learn the basic steps. It was challenging at first, but seeing the joy in her eyes when we danced together makes it all worth it. Now, I can't believe I used to be that person who hated dancing so much. Not sure how long I'll keep it as a secret. I'm just waiting for the right moment to reveal this surprise. I have a box of little crochet critters in the garage that I make when I'm bored in between clients. I let my fiancé know that if anyone at work would like one, she's a hospice nurse, she can just take them from the box, no questions asked. That's what I told her anyway. The secret is that I purposefully make stuff for her to take. I even have a little spreadsheet so I know what animals' colours are the most popular and make sure that there's always spares. Obviously, I don't know who they go to because of confidentiality, but I try to get as big a range as I can. When he proposes to me, I have an engagement watch for him. My dad gave it to me a few months into dating him and said that I could do what I want with it. It's been 5 years and all I need is a nice box and ribbon. Edit. Thanks for the activity. Super overwhelmed by the responses. The watch is a Breitling Aerospace. My dad and his dad collected watches, so we would often inherit ones. They collected them when luxury brands were more affordable. The timing wasn't due to me starting to date my boyfriend, just that my dad flew over to get a few older ones serviced as we grew up overseas. He just wanted to bring a gift. I'm a competitive gamer and I always manage to beat my wife in every video game we play. But when it comes to Puyo Puyo Tetris, things are different. I intentionally let her win because it's the one game she truly enjoys, and it's worth losing just to see her smile and have fun together. It's become our special way to connect, and honestly, that shared joy makes the game more enjoyable for me too. It's not really a secret anymore, since I couldn't help but laugh the last time I caught him doing it. When he used to make me Impossible burgers, he would carefully check the temperature with a meat thermometer, just to be sure they were safe to eat. Just like a real burger. I found it so endearing that I never had the heart to tell him that I could probably eat them raw, without a problem. Those burgers were tough as bricks, but the effort he put into making them perfect for me melted my heart every time. Even though I had to chew through them like a champ, his sweetness made every bite worth it. I love that man and his dedication to keeping me safe, even when it's a bit over the top. We've been together for 5 years, met at a football game. Our biggest thing in common is our love for our team. Every Sunday for years, we get together to watch the games with her family. I'm not really into football. I was at the game we met at because someone bought tickets and I was off so sure. I've never really understood it, so for years, anytime the family cheers, I just follow with cheers, and when they boo, I do the same. I don't think his youngest son is his. The story about how this child came to be is very shady, between having his vasectomy reversal and how low he said his count is. Combined with the fact that he caught the boy's mom cheating during the time they were trying, and how fast she came back with the paternity results, it all feels very wrong. 13 years later, when we are talking about his youngest, he always brings up how similar they look. I just agree. This kid looks nothing like him or his other 2 kids. My BF is 5'7", blue eyes, black hair with a lean build. The youngest is already over 6 feet tall, brown eyes, brown hair and kinda chubby. His mum is very slim, blue eyes and blonde hair. He wanted to get them all 23andMe for Christmas. I talked him out of it. I think it would ruin Christmas for him if it came out. I want to marry him sooner than I ever expected. But as an immigrant, I worry that bringing it up might make him or his family think I'm only doing it to get permanent residence quickly. So, instead, I've been working extra hard to qualify for it on my own. I love him deeply and want our marriage to be about us, not about immigration. She farts in her sleep, loud. I'm afraid to admit it, but I don't really like his family. They intimidate me, and I'm kind of scared of them. I feel out of place whenever we're together, and it's something I struggle with constantly. I know it's important to him that we all get along, so I'm trying to find ways to feel more comfortable around them. But it's tough. I just hope that over time things will get better, and I'll learn to feel more at ease. TLDR. Lied and replaced a card in a magic booster, so my girlfriend could finally find an expensive chase rare. We both recently got into Magic the Gathering. For me, it was a return after 25 years of not playing, and she was new. We both were looking for a hobby to enjoy together to help us get our minds off of the devastating 2 years we'd just fought through. It was 2 years of cancer diagnosis, heartbreaking surgeries, Chuck doctor visits, losing her 2 dogs. They were her children, all while trying to finish the last year of her PhD, in cancer research of all things. Anyhow, the cataloguing, sorting, playing, trading, and collecting seemed to put her in a quiet place where she could turn her thoughts to something else and just heal. She even played in her first tournament at Gen Con. She jumped in with both feet, and opening booster packs and finding cards with value seemed to light her up in a way I hadn't seen since we started down our war on cancer. The problem is, she never seemed to have the luck I did with finding chase rares. And with the latest set being totally her jam, small cute animals, she wants them all. So, I ordered a bundle of collector boosters and the very expensive raised foil rabbit card she was looking for, cut open a booster, slid it in, and resealed it well enough so she wouldn't notice. Seeing her open that pack, hearing her voice shake in concert with her hands, and watching that fleeting panic that she damaged the card transition to pure joy was incredible. I feel a twinge guilty about it, but I'll take the secret with me to my grave. She thinks she got super lucky with finding an incredibly rare card. It's a small thing, but it meant the world to her. Years have passed, but the pain from her affair still lingers. I've chosen to stay for reasons that make sense to me, yet the hurt remains as fresh as ever. It's something I carry with me every day, a wound that time hasn't healed. I've tried to move forward, but there's always that shadow hanging over our relationship, reminding me of what happened. I just wish I could let it go, but it's not that simple. That I have a large secret candy stash I hide far away from him in my closet, hoarding it like a little candy dragon. I love him. I have some chocolates accessible in the freezer if he wants some. I share certain varieties I buy in small doses. But I keep all my good shit locked away because he will absolutely inhale all of it in a week. If I tell him to replace it, he will, but sometimes it takes him a while and I don't want to wait 3+ days for a refill of my damn candy. Some of the stuff he's eaten is hard to find, like certain sugar-free gummies I've had to buy across 3 to 4 different places, or international treats only sold at one market in the area. And so he won't replace it, just reimburse me, but it's still annoying that I have to go out and find it again. He's thin and fit, so feels no guilt or anything about swallowing half a bag of candy in one sitting. But I'm losing weight and cherish the sweets I have infrequently. It maddens him for whatever reason that it can take me 5 months to finish a bag of Dove chocolate, lol. I even have some Easter candy left in my stash. Of all the flaws for someone to have, it's not so bad. He at least tries to replace or reimburse, but it's easier that I just keep my sweets to myself and share small portions. I secretly turned a hallway closet into a shoe closet because she's always wanted one. It's been a project I've kept under wraps, and I can't wait for her to see it when she comes home in a couple of days. I really hope she loves it as much as I loved making it for her. It's a small gesture, but I know it'll mean the world to her, and I'm excited to see her reaction. I'm proposing today, and I've been planning for most of this year. I'm terrible at secrets and have almost spilled the beans a few times. Edit, He said yes. Once a month, I disappear for a mysterious workshop that he's not allowed to ask about. What he doesn't know is that I've been learning blacksmithing, and I'm currently crafting a sword to propose to him with. It's something I've kept secret because I want it to be a huge surprise. I've put so much time and effort into making it perfect, and I can't wait to see the look on his face when I finally present it to him. It's a unique way to propose, but it feels just right for us. On occasion, I send Instacart groceries to local people asking for food. I know what it is to be hungry, my husband never has. I do not think he would understand. Not that he is against helping, but might get upset with me sending groceries and spending $80, $100 just for basics for someone to get by till their next paycheck. I secretly can't stand the way he chews, but I pretend it doesn't bother me. Every bite drives me crazy, but I keep it to myself because I don't want to hurt his feelings. It's such a small thing, yet it gets under my skin more than I'd like to admit. The cancer is probably going to kill me. If I'm stuck on a game, she will casually suggest things I could try without right telling me the answer. She will go very quiet, go on her phone and then say, I wonder, does this game have any buffs to your lightning damage? Or, ooh, a dragon! He looks like he wouldn't like ice damage very much. I know she is goggling things, but I pretend like I don't because she gets so excited when her hints work and she thinks she helped me work it out organically. When she watches those cheesy Hallmark movies that I claim to hate, I sometimes pretend to be completely absorbed in my game or whatever task I'm doing. But the truth is, I often get caught up in the plot of those stupid movies. I'd never admit it to her, but there's something oddly captivating about them, even though I still find them predictable and boring. It's like a guilty pleasure I can't quite shake, and I can't help but get invested, even if I roll my eyes the entire time. That I am not okay in this divorce, I miss her terribly. Our 10th anniversary is just around the corner in January, and it's hard to believe it's been a decade since we got engaged. The ring I gave her back then was the best I could afford, and while it looks nice, it's a constant reminder of how far we've come since those early days. I'm grateful for every moment we've shared, and I'm looking forward to celebrating this milestone together. We're not wealthy, both educators, but we've moved up enough on our district's salary schedules and cleared out some bigger debts, so my 10th anniversary gift is a new ring that's about 5 times what the original cost. And looks it. 5 months until I can show her. We're having a boy! Even after 25 years, I still have nightmares about my abusive ex-boyfriend. The memories linger, haunting me in ways I can't control, no matter how much time has passed. It's something I carry with me, a shadow from the past that occasionally resurfaces, reminding me of a time I'd rather forget. I told her my body count when she asked randomly, years ago before it became trendy, and I had been in the military for a while, so I thought she meant real body count, as in kills while I was in. I told her 22 confirmed, and she giggled and repeated confirmed that made me mentally giggle like, sure. Okay. I didn't ask hers back because I wouldn't have assumed that a waitress had killed anyone. Years later, when I learned the other, more cultural definition, I couldn't tell her. When we first started dating, I told him I wasn't ticklish, and I managed to hold it together the first time he tried, acting completely unbothered. He laughed and said it was no fun, and now, 11 years later, he still believes I'm not ticklish. It's the best secret I've ever kept, and I can't help but chuckle every time I think about it. I've mastered the art of staying still, and it's become a little inside joke with myself. It's funny how a small white lie has lasted this long, but it's made for a great story over the years. The number of times those intrusive thoughts cross my mind is more than I'd like to admit. But my wife, she's the anchor that keeps me grounded. Whenever I'm overwhelmed, I think about how tragic it would be if I ever acted on those thoughts, and that's what pulls me back. It's not just her, though. I do this for everything in my life. If it's not her, it's my dog, my parents, my family, or anyone else I love. Each of them gives me a reason to keep going, even when it's tough. They're my safety net, and I hold on to them tightly, knowing that without them, I might not be able to stay afloat. It's a constant battle, but their presence in my life makes it worth fighting. That I was hesitant about marrying him because the idea of losing him someday is so incredibly painful and heart-shattering to me. When my grandma died, my grandpa was, and still is, a shell of who he was. He was absolutely devastated at her death. He's not the same person he used to be. They were together for over 50 years. That kind of grief and pain scares the shit out of me. It is very selfish of me to say, but I hope I pass first, because the idea of living without him is incomprehensible to me. At the end of the day, though, I think having loved deeply and lost is preferable to not loving at all. I've been preparing for his birthday for a long time now. My insecurity is so overwhelming that it feels like I'm screaming from the inside. I hide so much pain about it all the time, constantly battling the belief that I'm not good enough for anyone. It's this deep-seated fear that makes me question who could truly love me, knowing all my flaws. I've dated guys who didn't even like me but kept seeing me, and it's left me wondering if anyone really does like me. Outwardly, I do strange things like avoiding eye contact when we pass an attractive woman because I'm so convinced I don't measure up. No amount of reassurance can change how I feel. It's all internal, a struggle I can't escape. I'm a people pleaser to the extreme. So much so that if I have a falling out with someone, I'll obsess over it, convinced it's because I'm not likable. It's a constant war in my head. And while he knows I'm insecure, he only sees a small part of the storm that's raging inside me. I feel trapped in this endless cycle of doubt, always questioning my worth, and it's exhausting. I am very much kinkier than what he can even think. That I know my husband eats meat despite his insistence that he's vegetarian like me, I don't care, but it's cute that he doesn't think I know. I've been veggie for over 20 years, but one of his former co-workers told me he saw him eating pepperoni pizza. And ever since then, I've noticed small meat escapades, and it's so adorable that I can't even call him on it because it doesn't matter to me. But I know he would be embarrassed. LOL. One of the biggest secrets I kept from my partner was about a time in my life before we met, when I was really struggling financially. A few years ago, I found myself drowning in debt, just trying to stay afloat. By the time we met, I was barely starting to get back on my feet, and I was too ashamed to share just how bad things had been. I always thought I'd tell them when the time was right, but as our relationship deepened, so did my fear of how they'd react. It wasn't just about the money. I was terrified they'd see me differently as someone who didn't have it all together. I knew that honesty is crucial in a relationship, but I kept putting off the conversation, telling myself I'd wait until I had more control over the situation. The weight of that secret became heavier with each passing day. Every time we talked about the future or made plans together, guilt would gnaw at me, knowing I wasn't being entirely truthful. There were moments when I nearly confessed, especially during discussions about major financial decisions, but I always pulled back, afraid of what might happen. It was a constant burden, and I couldn't shake the feeling that it would eventually come between us. Eventually, I realized that this secret was eating away at me, and it wasn't fair to either of us. The day I finally confessed, I was expecting anger or disappointment, but instead, my partner just listened. They were more understanding than I could have imagined, and together, we worked out a plan to handle things. It was a huge relief, but I'll never forget how difficult it was to carry that secret and how much easier it would have been if I had just been honest from the start. It taught me that in a strong relationship, it's better to face the tough conversations early on rather than letting them grow into something bigger and more daunting. I resent him for never having done big romantic gestures, maybe even medium ones. It feels like he doesn't think I'm worth the effort. It feels like I'm always compromising for whatever he wants, and it never comes back around. I sing Shania Twain and Celine Dion songs while she's asleep. With my whole chest lol, we are metal air dem bass heads. How much money I've lost in crypto? Edit. I thought it said parent. I don't have a partner. Single women of Reddit, what's the best way to approach you without coming off as creepy? I find, like most humans, us women like being greeted with hello. It's usually a good place to start, but honestly, women are just people. Approach them like people. Make small talk. If you're at an event, party, on bar, talk about that. Don't overthink it. Just start a conversation like you would with anybody. And if that goes well, ask for her number. And if she at any point makes it clear she doesn't want to talk to you or says no to her number, please drop it. Leave her alone. That's generally when shit gets creepy. Even if you follow the best advice, remember that some women simply won't be interested. They might not be looking to meet anyone new or could already be in a relationship. It's not about you or how nice you are, it's just their situation. Don't take it personally or get upset. It's important to understand that rejection isn't a reflection of your worth. It's just a part of life. Keep your head up and move on, knowing that the right connection will come when the time is right. Time and place is the biggest one. Headphones are a universal sign that someone doesn't want to be disturbed. If I'm dancing with my friends, shouting in my ear on the dance floor isn't the right approach. It's better to wait until I'm at the bar or in the smoking area, where we can actually hear each other. Also, if I'm walking through a quiet park, having a stranger approach me is alarming. And if I'm at work, where I have to interact and can't easily leave, it's really unfair to put me in that situation. Understanding context and respecting personal space are key to making a positive impression. If it feels like you're interrupting something important or a task that requires concentration, it's best not to. Approach me as a person first, not just as a potential date. Start a conversation about life, interests, or something we might have in common. Opening with a comment on my body or asking if I have Snapchat isn't flattering, it's off-putting. I appreciate genuine conversations that go beyond surface-level attraction, where you actually show interest in who I am as a person. It's the little things that make a big difference in how I perceive you. Edit to add because it's important. Physical contact has zero place in your opener. Don't come up to me at the bar and slide your arm around my waist or tap on my shoulder when I have headphones on. When women are talking about men being creeps to them, it is seldom a man simply asking them out. There is always some inappropriate, invasive, or sexually charged action or comment that accompanied it. Creepy C, making the interaction sexualized from the start. Be friendly, not flirty to start. One good rule of thumb: if you wouldn't be comfortable saying the same thing to a man you've never met before, then don't say it to a woman. If things go well with friendly, you can progress from there. Also, as already mentioned, context makes a huge difference. Approach women in social settings where mingling is normal, not at their place of work, public transportation, etc. The best advice I can give is to choose the right place to approach a woman. If she's somewhere she has to be, like a bus stop, waiting room, or grocery store, it's better to leave her alone unless you can quickly gauge the situation. Start with something relevant to the moment, like commenting on the chips in her cart or the band on her t-shirt. Avoid personal questions like, "Do you live around here?" or making comments about her appearance. If you stop talking and she doesn't make an effort to continue the conversation, it's a sign she's probably not interested. Respect that and don't push further. Understanding social cues and being mindful of her comfort level is key to making a respectful and positive impression. Also, when I say right place, that's tricky too, because existing in a space like a bar club is not a universal signal someone's trying to date. But clubs, meetups, social activities, etc. At least women know there's a culture of dating involved, not like when we're just trying to go to the post office or something. Tip your hat and say, "Oh, milady." Women love that. If I don't make eye contact, I'm not interested in being approached. 1. Don't have any expectations when you approach a woman. Don't assume she'll want to talk, share personal information like her name or number, or agree to go on a date. It's that sense of entitlement that can come off as creepy. Instead, approach with the mindset that you're just having a conversation. Nothing more. If she's interested, she'll make it clear. If not, accept it gracefully and move on. Respecting her boundaries and not expecting anything in return is what will set you apart and make the interaction more comfortable for both of you. 2. Remember, her response doesn't define your value as a person. You have inherent worth regardless of how she feels about you as a stranger. You have the potential to be a great partner for someone, but the connection has to be mutual. Focus on whether you both feel a spark, and be genuinely curious about whether she's open to getting to know someone right now. If she's into you, that's awesome. If not, it's no big deal. Don't take it personally. It's all about finding the right match, and sometimes the vibes just aren't there, and that's okay. 3. Start by telling her your name before asking for hers. For example, if you see chips in her cart, say, "I love those chips, and I'm John," instead of asking for her name right away. This approach gives her the option to greet you and introduce herself if she's interested. If you want to ask her out, say something like, "I thought you were cute and was wondering if I could take you out sometime." If she's interested, offer her your number so she can text you later. This way, she has more control over the situation. 4. If she does blow you off, be chill. Say something like, "That's cool, have a good day," and leave the area, or be fully engaged with other people, friends, etc. Don't go making eye contact or looking her way again. Some guys really don't take no well, and things get creepy when we can't tell if you're actually chill or if you are now stalking. If we're clearly not interested, don't push on just leave. 1. Be attractive. 2. Don't be unattractive. Just start with a simple conversation. There's no need to jump into telling me all the things you want to do to me when you don't even know a single thing about me. It's off-putting and makes it hard to take you seriously. Instead, talk to me like you would with anyone else. Ask about my interests, my day, or anything casual. A genuine conversation goes a long way in making a positive impression. If there's a connection, it will naturally develop. But coming on too strong right from the start is a surefire way to make things awkward. Keep it light and respectful. Step 1. Make eye contact. If she reciprocates, proceed. If she avoids your eyes or turns away, it's best to move on. Eye contact is the first subtle sign that someone might be open to an interaction. But if she's not looking back, it's a clear signal she's not interested. Step 2. Smile. A smile can be a powerful way to communicate warmth and openness. If she smiles back, that's a good sign to continue. If she doesn't, or if she seems disinterested, it's probably not the right time to approach. You can try a couple of times to be sure, but don't push it. Step 3. If you get positive signals, like her returning your smile and making eye contact, walk over and say hi. Starting a conversation can vary depending on the situation and the person. Some women appreciate a direct approach, such as, "Hi, you caught my eye, and I'd like to get to know you." Others might prefer a more casual, low-pressure start to the conversation. It's important to trust your instincts here. Everyone is different. Just be mindful to avoid comments about her appearance or overly personal questions like, "Do you live around here?" as they can come off as intrusive or too forward. If at any point she starts to seem closed off, maybe she avoids eye contact, gives short, uninterested responses, or looks for an exit, it's important to respect that and back off. Pushing the conversation when she's not engaged will only make things uncomfortable. The key is to let the conversation flow naturally and see if there's a mutual vibe. If there is, great. If not, it's perfectly okay to move on and let it be. Reading and respecting her signals is crucial in ensuring that your approach is welcomed and comfortable for both of you. People often focus on the approach, but what really makes a man seem creepy is not the approach itself, but the inability to accept rejection. It's important to respect a woman's decision if she's not interested and gracefully move on. Pushing further or not taking no for an answer is what creates discomfort and gives off a creepy vibe. Don't question her, don't neg her, don't beg or intimidate her, just fuck off. That's how you don't come across as a creep. Be attractive. This is a great question, mostly because I hope that men approaching women doesn't die out because men are worried about being creeps. Some great answers here. Proceed with a lot of caution in places where she has to be, as others mentioned. Gym, bus, waiting in line, grocery shopping. Never more than friendly small talk to get a quick sense if she likes you or not. In social situations like a bar or a meet-up, you can be more playful. Basic rule to not make it creepy is to back off when she's not showing interest. Approach with honesty, without playing games. Genuine intentions are always appreciated, and women can usually sense when someone is being real versus trying to manipulate the situation. Being straightforward and sincere goes a long way in making a positive impression. The challenge with this question is that, just like men, every woman is different, and each one is looking for something unique in a potential partner. What has worked for me is simply engaging in polite conversation. Whether you introduce yourself and casually ask for her number, or notice that she shares an interest with you, sparking up a conversation based on that can be a great approach. The key is to be genuine and respectful. What has never worked for me, however, is when a guy focuses entirely on how attractive I am, clearly showing that his main goal is just to get laid. It's also a huge turn-off when a guy gets overly sexual right from the start, talks excessively about all the women who are supposedly into him, or goes on rants about how terrible his ex or all women are. These behaviors make it clear that he's not really interested in me as a person, but rather sees me as an object to be won over. In the end, it's about approaching her with genuine interest and treating her like a human being, not just a prize to be obtained. Women appreciate being seen and valued for who they are, not just for their looks or as a conquest. So, if you approach with respect, listen and engage in a real conversation, you're far more likely to make a positive impression. Do you have a boyfriend? Should not be the first words out of your mouth. This is almost always the first thing men say to me when they approach me in public, sometimes without even asking my name. And it always makes me feel weird. I understand the desire to state your intentions early on, but as an opening line, it sounds more like, "Where is your owner? Can I fuck you?" If I'm unavailable or uninterested, I'll let you know pretty quickly. But at the very least, you can improve your chances by holding a normal conversation, Lowell. Also, conversation means conversation, not interrogation. IDK. Why some men will start asking me very personal details, such as my relationship with my father within 5 minutes of meeting each other. That's a good way to freak someone out. Women generally do not want to be approached by anyone who has to ask this question, which is why you're not getting useful answers. Just be chill and say hi? Like, don't overthink it, man? Nobody wants the awkward, "Hey, do you believe in love?" speech. The approach itself is rarely the creepy part, as long as you're not interrupting someone who's clearly engaged, like happily listening to headphones. What usually makes things creepy is not respecting a polite or soft no. Or, even worse, getting weird about it when she declines. The key is to practice wrapping up the conversation quickly and gracefully when she says she's busy or has a boyfriend. Depart with a smile and a sense of, "Oh, well, I tried," rather than pushing further. This kind of respectful exit not only avoids creepiness, but also leaves a better impression, showing that you respect her boundaries and understand when to back off. Context is everything when it comes to approaching women. If you approach someone coldly on a bus, at a bus station, or any public place where they have to be, it's almost always going to come off as creepy. It's much better to try in a social setting where socialization is more natural, like through a shared hobby, maybe a gym class, a running club, or something similar. Pay attention to whether you've had any prior eye contact before making a move, as that can indicate some level of openness. But even with the right context, be aware that many women might still find this creepy regardless of the circumstances. It's a hit or miss. So always be respectful and prepared to gracefully accept a no. Honestly, I would be fine with any guy coming up to me and introducing himself. So long as you aren't undressing me with your eyes and can respect when I say I'm not interested, it won't be creepy to me. I'm happily married now, but looking back, I don't understand why it was ever a mystery to me. Now that I'm not at all interested, I have no trouble at all noticing when a woman is attracted to me. I realize now it happened all the time when I was single, but I didn't move on it. Honestly, they will let you know. They're actually pretty bad at hiding it. Observe carefully. Test the waters. Don't be needy. Don't try to impress her. Don't be self-conscious. Just be natural, but tread delicately. Put your ego away, but be confident. If being yourself doesn't work, it wasn't meant to be. Getting rejected doesn't mean you did anything wrong. Move on. Don't insist. Loving and appreciating women is a huge plus. They pick up on it. Loving yourself is as important. Simple. Just be born attractive. Just don't approach at all. As a man, I think the key is just using common sense. Be casual. Start with a simple hello or a light conversation starter. If she's interested, she'll engage with you. If she's not, let it go, just like you would with any other person. Women are just people too, and approaching them with the same respect you'd show anyone else is crucial. The bar is pretty low to come across as a decent, respectful guy, so it really isn't that hard. It's all about being natural, not forcing anything, and understanding when to walk away without making it awkward. From the comments, you can clearly see they have no idea themselves how they want to be approached. Hang in there, folks. Things are only creepy when they find you unattractive. Having game is 90% being attractive, 10% having game. A guy once approached me saying, "Excuse me, I just wanted to say I think you're beautiful. Can I get your number and contact you?" I was flattered, but I told him I was in a relationship. I think this old-school approach can be really nice when done respectfully and without pressure. If I had been single, I probably would have given him my info. I also appreciate the approach where you make small talk and see if the other person engages back. It's a great way to gauge their interest without coming on too strong, making it feel natural and comfortable for both parties. Just don't ask if she ever gets horny the first time meeting her. Just start a conversation. There's a way to show interest and flirt without being creepy. Avoid being sexual right from the start, and definitely don't stare. It's all about being respectful and making the other person feel comfortable. Keep it light and natural, and let the conversation flow. I had an old-school moment at the supermarket when I saw this gorgeous guy already in line to pay for his groceries while I was still shopping. I had this urge to write down my name and phone number on a piece of paper and hand it to him, saying, "Hi, my name is Josephine. If you ever want to have a cup of coffee, I'm free." But I didn't have any paper or a pen. I even thought about rushing to the stationery section, but I ran out of time. It's one of those missed connections I still think about. So, you guys can do that. In my case, if I don't get a call or text, it's obvious he is compromised or just not interested. If I get a text, well, you never know. My most missed read, I'm clocked as lesbian, was a cute woman telling me she loved my earrings and going on and on. I blushed and walked away after a short convo. My friend who was with me at the store was like, "OMG, what is your problem?" When we were at home in my house. I said, "Girl, she was behind the counter. Haven't you ever worked retail?" Full disclosure, I worked 10 years of retail. She said, "That lady was hitting on you?" I said, "No, wait, no. But no, we never know. So if you're a lady, tell me my ass is fat even if it isn't, and likely I'll still be confused BC. Even my straight friends flirt with me, and I'm so not the person who knows who's serious about me." The best approach is to be friendly, respectful, and show genuine interest in getting to know me as a person. It's all about treating me with kindness and curiosity, rather than just focusing on appearances or making a move. A sincere approach goes a long way in making a good impression. Personally, I left the approaching random girls to the extremely confident guys. My approach was just to talk to girls like they are the same as guys. Sometimes would click and end up dating, other times made a friend. If go into every interaction with the pressure of picking up someone to date, I think that very rarely works. Be attractive. How do you get better at flirting? A guy told me that he liked my shoes and asked where I'd gotten them. We were in a bowling alley. I always just thought of it as a game, but one you're not really trying to win. It's just fun to play. When you find an opponent that makes it more fun is when you know you're doing it right. If not, then concede the match and move on. Good at flirting also means recognizing when the other party isn't receptive. If they're answering briskly and killing conversation, cut your losses and move on. Start by believing in yourself. Confidence is key when it comes to flirting. Remember, the person you're trying to flirt with is just a regular person, just like you. They have their own quirks and daily routines. They're not some untouchable figure. Realizing this can help you relax and be more natural in your approach. Flirting isn't about impressing someone. It's about connecting with them on a human level. So, take a deep breath. Remember that they're just like everyone else, and let your true self shine through. Listening more than you talk is a powerful tool in flirting. People genuinely appreciate when they feel heard and understood. When you focus on what the other person is saying, it shows that you're interested in them as a person, not just as a potential romantic interest. This makes the conversation flow more naturally and helps build a real connection. Plus, by listening, you'll pick up on details that can guide the conversation in a more meaningful direction. Remember, it's not about dominating the conversation, but about creating a space where both of you can engage and connect. Perhaps forget flirting. Just talk to people and be interested in what they say. Ask real questions, listen to the answers, work on improving your feel for the flow of conversation. But the trick is to actually be interested in what they are saying. Same way you'll get to Carnegie Hall. Practice, practice, practice. People don't really care that much if you say something embarrassing or weird, so you shouldn't either. What I've learned is that most girls actually enjoy it when you talk about whatever's on your mind, even if it's a bit goofy or offbeat. It often leads to genuinely interesting conversations that stand out from the usual boring small talk they get from guys trying to flirt. Being yourself, even if that means being a little quirky, can be refreshing and shows that you're comfortable in your own skin. It's this authenticity that can make your interactions more memorable and enjoyable. Practice makes perfect, and flirting is no different. It's a skill like any other, and the more you practice, the better you'll get. Start by paying attention to what works and what doesn't. If you're starting later in life, it's a good idea to find a place to practice that isn't your workplace or a space related to your favorite hobby. Why? Because when you're just starting out, there's a good chance you'll make mistakes or feel awkward, and you don't want those moments to happen in environments that are important to you. Instead, find a setting where the stakes are low, a place where you can experiment with flirting without worrying too much about the outcome. It could be a casual social setting, a local event, or even an online platform where you can practice your conversation skills. The key is to keep trying, learn from each experience, and gradually build your confidence. Flirting, like any skill, takes time to develop. So be patient with yourself and remember that every interaction is a step toward improvement. And focus on being a fun person to be around, not trying to sleep with people. People see through that shit and will think you're a fucking creeper. Greetings, fair maiden. I approach thee with romantic intent. Focus on understanding your own personality and preferences first. When you know yourself well, you can seek out people whose profiles and interests align with yours. Flirting becomes more natural when there's a genuine connection and shared interests, making the interaction feel more synchronized and meaningful. Rule 1, be attractive. Rule 2, don't be unattractive. If you are a woman, find a guy that you like and walk casually past him. Allow your hand to brush against his lower back as you walk by. When he looks, look back and give him a little signal to approach you. And he will. A friend of mine does this and it has a 95% success rate. If you are a man, just be rich and funny. Rich and funny works really well. Touching women without consent is no good. Edit. It seems this isn't self-evident, so I'll state it here. No flirting approach is one size fits all. Great flirting and situational. So of course this approach isn't going to be the best approach for everyone, and that's okay. Confidence is everything. When you focus on having fun rather than trying to impress, flirting becomes much easier and more enjoyable. Relax and enjoy the moment. People are naturally drawn to those who are comfortable and having a good time. Step 1. Decide you don't want to have sex. Or rather that sex isn't the end goal of every conversation with the opposite sex. Step 2. Roll with the punches and learn to laugh at yourself. Step 3. When people flirt, respond in kind. It's good banter. The more it happens, the better you get. Flirting is a lot like comedy, in my experience. You gotta have high enough self-esteem to not get easily offended when someone makes fun of you, and you have to have the quick wit necessary to come up with clever responses. This takes practice and effort. Also, if you see flirting as fun in and of itself, instead of seeing flirting as a pathway to sex, then you get good at flirting. And that's the story of how I became a massive flirt and also a virgin. If someone can tell me how to turn flirting into sex, you have my gratitude. Being curious and asking questions is a great way to improve your flirting skills. Showing genuine interest in the other person makes them feel valued and heard. Instead of trying to impress, focus on learning more about them, what they like, what makes them tick, and what they're passionate about. This approach not only helps keep the conversation flowing, but also builds a deeper connection. Flirting is much more about creating a bond than just making clever remarks. So stay engaged and let your curiosity guide the interaction. ITT, all the advice for a shy person is basically telling them to not be shy. Practice staying calm and composed when trying to say something charming. It's normal to feel nervous, but the more you practice, the easier it gets. Focus on your words and the conversation, and over time, you'll feel more confident without turning bright red. Listen to comedy podcasts, especially if they have guests. They are the best at banter, and a sense of humor is the key. Just by listening, you will get skills and confidence, as well as pick up many conversational techniques. When I started loving myself and truly understanding who I am and what I need, everything changed. Knowing my worth and being clear about what I want gave me the confidence to go after it without fear. Flirting became easier because I wasn't seeking validation from others. I was comfortable in my own skin and knew exactly what I was looking for. This self-assurance made my interactions more genuine and less pressured, allowing me to connect with others on a deeper level. It's amazing how much easier things become when you start with self-love and clarity about your own desires. Sincerity is key. Being honest, without being pushy or relying on cliches, makes all the difference. People appreciate genuine interactions, so just be yourself and let the conversation flow naturally. Authenticity always stands out. Don't start a conversation with the goal of getting them in bed. Start a conversation with the goal of having a good conversation. Talk to women you like as much as possible. Start conversations in the DMV, public library, supermarket, dentist's office, wherever. Expect rejection plenty and just don't get discouraged. You're eventually going to understand what works for you. Practice in front of a mirror until you can charm even your own reflection. It might sound funny, but it's a great way to build confidence and refine your approach. When you can make your mirror blush, you'll feel more prepared to flirt with real people. Practice is definitely important, as learning how to read people is a skill that takes time to master. However, by far, the most important thing, at least for guys, is confidence. Now, this does not mean cockiness, and a lot of guys get this confused. You can't walk around acting like you're some big shot who demands attention. Rather, you need to come off as not insecure and confident in yourself. This means being humble but sure of yourself. Speak like you're sure of what you're saying, but that it's okay if they disagree. It's also a good idea to not approach women with the direct aim of picking them up. Being genuinely friendly is good, but don't seem too attached. Go up to a girl, talk to her for a couple minutes, and then leave the scene in a way that seems genuine. If you follow them around, you seem desperate or worse, creepy. Even if they seem interested already, leaving the scene works great, as it makes you seem like you have other obligations, which for some women can feel like a challenge. Also, don't fall for the girls don't like nice guys trap. Women love nice guys, but they don't like insecure guys. Be kind, but make it clear, through your actions, that you do not need her to have a good time. If she sees that you are successful on your own, she'll be much more inclined to find you attractive. And if a girl doesn't want your attention, act like it doesn't bother you even if it does. There's nothing worse than a guy who gets angry because a girl isn't interested. Your lack of care towards that situation might even make the girl think, why doesn't he care? And lead to her being interested in you after all. Think Trixie Tang from the Fairly Odd Parents. However, in this scenario, don't approach her again. No means no, and if she does find you interesting, she'll let you know. Okay, so I realise that this has kind of become a guide to approaching women you are interested in, rather than actually flirting. But the advice here should improve anyone's game. When it comes to flirting, the confidence thing still applies. And oh yeah, make fun of them in a joking way and see if they reciprocate. If they do, you're already halfway there. Good luck to everyone, I hope this helps, LOL. Crank as many out as necessary and forget about sex for a minute. Replace flirting with talking to people. Look up the Ford method. Remember people's fucking names. Talk to as many new people as possible, all genders, whether you're attracted to them or not. 100 new people in 6 months is perfectly doable. If you can do that, flirting and sex will naturally follow. Flirting should be fun, so keep it playful and light-hearted. The key is not to overthink every word or action, just go with the flow and enjoy the interaction. When you're relaxed and having a good time, it naturally puts the other person at ease as well. Over-analysing can make you come across as stiff or nervous, so focus on the moment. Be spontaneous and let the conversation develop naturally. Playfulness makes the connection feel more genuine and helps both of you enjoy the experience. Think of flirting as a fun game rather than something serious. Approach it with a mindset of curiosity and playfulness, and be genuinely interested in the person you're talking to. The goal is to make the conversation enjoyable for both of you, not to impress or win them over. When you focus on having fun and creating a lively, engaging interaction, it naturally takes the pressure off and allows you both to relax. This approach helps build a connection that feels effortless and enjoyable, turning the whole experience into something memorable. I think it's probably crucial for people to maintain an extremely light touch when flirting with strangers, and even more so when flirting with acquaintances. I'm an older male, but when I was middle-aged, I became extremely circumspect with regard to flirting. I basically just dialed it back to being friendly and polite, and being very discreet about complimenting anyone in any sort of manner that might be construed as having a sexual context. Now that I'm certifiably old, I've allowed myself to relax a little bit. Just a little, if only because there's so little chance that any young woman would take it seriously. But my antennae are always up with regard to exuding creepiness, which is something I generally try to avoid. Being genuinely interested in the other person is key to successful flirting. Ask questions that show you're curious about their thoughts and experiences, listen actively, and respond with a blend of humor and thoughtful compliments. This approach not only makes the conversation more engaging, but also helps build a deeper connection. Confidence is something you build over time, so don't hesitate to step out of your comfort zone and take a chance. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel, and soon you'll find that flirting becomes second nature. There are plenty of training centers that offer courses on flirting and social skills. If you're serious about improving, consider signing up for a course. It can provide structured guidance and practice in a supportive environment, helping you build confidence and refine your approach. 1. Go outside. Easier said than done, right? 2. Talk to women. Sounds impossible, but it's not. It may feel daunting at first, but the more you put yourself out there, the more comfortable you'll become. The hardest part is often just taking that first step. Once you're outside and starting conversations, you'll realize it's not as scary as it seems. It's all about breaking down those mental barriers and giving yourself a chance. Remember, everyone feels nervous at first, but practice makes it easier over time. Have a ton of money in your bank account. Stop being scared of rejection. How do you get to not be scared of rejection? Get rejected a lot, and/or by someone you really like or love. Then you stop caring at flirting with randos also. Starting off by telling someone they're pretty handsome is a great first move. You don't have to come up with a smart pickup line. Just be playful. My to-do list. Step 1. Google what is flirting. Step 2. Look for YouTube tutorials or any guidebooks. Step 3. Practice. Step 4. Give up and abandon all hope, knowing your bloodline ends with you. As the old adage says, the secret to flirting is to be extremely good-looking. Smile and make eye contact. It's the easiest way to connect. Get comfortable with rejection and find ways to make people laugh. Once you're operating with confidence, not arrogance or entitlement, and humor, everything else will fall in place. If you are a woman, just speak the same language they do, and sometimes that isn't even necessary, just exist near them, breathe near them, be near them, LOL. If you are a man, be rich and good-looking. If you have these, you can say or do anything, and nothing you could do would really turn them off of you, LOL. So to simply, if you are a woman, just be near men. If you are a man, just make bank, LOL. Don't try to be too cute if you don't know what you're doing. Just be straightforward and have the confidence to be upfront about what you want. Lightness and genuine fun. You're not executing a plan to get laid. You're playing around with someone who might enjoy playing around with you. You can take it or leave it. They can take it or leave it. There's no commitment required, no drama if they don't reciprocate. Just move along. If they join you in that safe space, you're still not trying to get laid. You're trying to engage them in some playfully antagonistic banter or some slightly snarky mutual compliments and smiles. They want to see if you catch what they're dealing out, if you're actually paying attention and trying to join in, or if you're just walking though a checklist that you hope ends in sexy times. They want to gauge if you're relaxed and confident, which suggests calm comfort, or if you've got an agenda, which suggests potential red flags. There might come a point in the interaction where either party suspects that they're interested or open to something more than playful, but even that may be nuanced and isn't just a straight-to-bed declaration. Your looks and smoothness of course help, but are way less important than you think. Don't drag your mental models of your self-worth along with you. Let the interaction and the other party involved give you clues about how they feel about you and believe them. An interesting and fun person who actually listens is very compelling, even if it doesn't lead straight to knocking panda dunks. Plus, you should really be looking at the long term. Flirting might fundamentally change how the other party thinks about you, and this could lead to different, more connected interactions in the future, after they've marinated on it a while. Being nice and friendly with anyone is going to increase your connection with them. Flirting just adds a layer of I'm paying particular attention to you because I'm interested in you. Flirt with ugly people and work your way up. 1. Start flirting. 2. Realize you're just making everyone uncomfortable. 3. Stay home and play video games. You already know the answer to this one. Practice makes perfect. Oh, and talk to girls in real life. Messaging doesn't give you a real feel for it. Good luck, stud. I want to add to practice, be willing to walk away. If it's not working, walk away. Do it for its own sake, for the practice, for the fun, not for the results. By aging, the older I get, the easier it gets. It's so easy that I have to try hard not to be perceived as being flirty. I'm not up for any relationship, but my natural personality is inclined towards appearing as if I do want a relationship. I didn't have a clue when I was younger, perhaps because I was actually trying. Honest to God, play some dating sims. It sounds stupid, but they genuinely do teach you some interesting tactics for different personality types and often rely on one of the biggest hurdles for people who want to flirt well. You have to not be a dick. Practice, my boy, practice.